Yeah, we've had a 7-day turnaround, which we barely have, so that's been good for us. Of course, the first 2 days are about reviewing and recovering, and that's what we've done. And then in the middle of the week, we've trained hard, we've worked hard, and we've tried to work on all the details together with the team that we want to bring on Sunday. So it's been a good situation of us being able to spend a lot of time together and work towards this second leg. And I think the environment has been very positive and constructive.
We saw training earlier. We saw obviously Daphne back, and we saw Lotte back as well. How much of a boost is that? But also, are they both available for the game on Sunday?
Yeah, so they train today. The plan for them is to train tomorrow, and then they will be available for Sunday. So, but everyone still needs to come through training tomorrow, as always. No, it's very good. Of course, we are very happy with the squad that we have and the quality of players. So as many as possible available will be key for these big games that we're playing, and this is where we want to be. So having these players back is very positive for us.
Lindsay Kim Little out there, is she okay? Is she available?
Yeah, she's okay. So we manage her, and the plan is for her to train tomorrow, and just like I said, for everyone to get through that session tomorrow, and then everyone will be available for Sunday, hopefully.
Katie, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Look, you've had some massive nights with Arsenal, massive nights with Republic of Ireland. How big is Sunday's game?
Yeah, this is right up there, for sure. I think it's been nearly 2 years, obviously, since we were in this position with the club last time around against Wolfsburg. With a home leg as the second leg, so it's going to be a different challenge for us. And you spoke about obviously availability, and our squad and the depths we have and the strengths we have around the team is fantastic. And that time 2 years ago we were in a different place. So for us, we're feeling good. We're feeling unified and really focused going into Sunday's game.
How much of this is a test of the grit and the determination and that kind of intangible spirit that a team needs to go on and win the biggest?
You have to have it all. You have to have every one of those words you said, the grit, the perseverance, the courage to step up in these games. And yeah, look, we were frustrated at times, especially in the first leg, by the fine margins and not getting over the line as such. But as Renee touched on, we've been hard at it in terms of looking at how we can do better in those moments, keep improving, keep creating those opportunities. And yeah, it's all on Sunday now to make sure we get over the line. Look, I'm very lucky to be part of a fantastic group of teammates and high quality staff, and to play at a club like Arsenal for as long as I have. I don't take that for granted at all. And the feeling the fans give us as well, especially at the Emirates on Sunday. And I know we've obviously got travelling fans coming up over the weekend as well, so how important they are. So for me, I never take for granted putting on this shirt, and to be heading into a semi-final of the Champions League is something I just can't wait to embrace.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Tim? Yeah, sure. Hi, Renee. One of the themes, I think, between maybe the first leg and maybe the Chelsea away game in January is maybe it took Arsenal 10 or 15 minutes. They were a bit shaky maybe in that first 10 or 15 minutes, and I wonder whether you've spoken about how to start the game a bit better.
I'm not sure if I want to compare those two games. I think they're very different, and we play them at different stages of the season. But I think we knew what to expect with Lyon, and we know their threats. And sometimes in those top games, you need to settle and you need to feel it and experience it. And I think that's maybe what happened. But we're so happy with how the players got through that and grew into the game, and I think that's part of what gives us belief for the second leg as well, because I think we believe that we can expose them, but we're also very aware that there's a lot of threat in Lyon and what they can create. So we're super humble for the task, because they probably have a next level in them, but so do we. So there's a balance of us being very humble and very aware of what we're going to play against, but then also a big belief because we think we can do something on Sunday, and we know what the task is that's ahead of us. We know the details we want to bring to the game, and we're going to give everything we can give in that game because there's nothing to hold back for. So we really look forward to the opportunity on Sunday.
And I asked Joe a question about Lyon's approach last week. Gave me a really long, detailed answer. Basically, the whole game plan. I'll share it with you if you like. But one of the phrases he said was sometimes you've got to let Arsenal have the ball and look at the second phase. And like I'm sure you're aware of that in terms of the transitional threat Lyon have. But does that change anything for you, understanding that that's part of their plan and that's part of their threat? Or is the message always just to do what we're going to do and do it well enough that they can't do that?
Yeah, he probably put it into words what we see, what they did. So I think analyzing the game and we see similar things, and we believe in ourselves, so we want to bring to the game what we want to bring to the game, and always for us what's important is quality on the ball. So I think when we are good on the ball, then they won't get the chance to do what they are good at. So that whatever Joe said, and I'm happy to take some of that information if you have more, but we want to focus on ourselves, and we're very aware of their threat.
And that brings me on to a question for you, Katie. One of the things I also asked Joe about was Diani, and obviously you're asked to do a lot of work coming into midfield, pushing up, and I asked Joe, and he said that he deliberately asked Diani to stay quite high up the pitch, and obviously that's where the first goal comes from, but then he said he could see you kind of moderated your game after that a little bit. Just how do you strike that balance between really supporting the attack in the midfield, but also respecting a threat like Diani on your side?
Yeah, you've got to be so on it in terms of where your opponent is, where the ball is, where my teammates are. So it's just reading and feeling the spaces in those moments. Of course, I respect Diani and the whole Lyon team. We do, because of what they've achieved. But also we know our qualities and our strengths, especially going forward. And for me, that is one of my strengths, making forward runs, arriving into spaces and delivering balls into the box. And I think, we've obviously touched on certain things obviously during the week. So I definitely don't want to lose that aspect of my game going forward.
Thank you both.
Thanks, Tim. Helen.
Yeah, I've got a question, a lighter question for both of you, which is about
Light.
superstition. Yeah, it's nice and frothy. It's about superstitions. So I know that Alessia has this thing where she has to jump like, I think it's 7 times. Is that right? Everybody will know that 7 times before kick-off. And as a Barnet fan, tomorrow we can get promoted with 1 point. And I have to do the superstitions as a fan. I have to interact with the mascot, blah, blah, blah. I have to do all this stuff. It's quite complicated. Just texted the mascot. And I wondered if you have certain things that you have to do. Do you want to go first, Katie?
I think every game is different, and so that for me, I kind of prepare differently for each game. I always will make sure I do get my work done early on in the week so that I'm free and clear head going into game day. I guess the one superstition would be I tuck my shirt in, if you're talking about superstitions. People say I look weird when it's not tucked in, so yeah, I guess it's that one, yeah.
What about you, Renee?
It's probably different from a player to manager.
Yes, so I wasn't superstitious at all as a player. I would say I have more tendencies to get dragged into those kinds of behaviors as a coach, to be honest, because you feel more responsibility. But I also know I'm very rational about it. It doesn't help.
It does in your mind, though?
No. No. So no, I don't have clear superstitions, but I could have ahead of different games I would go back and do something again, or I need to see this again before that. So, but that's more for my own security. But no, nothing here to share. Nothing about octopuses. Nothing.
No, it's all right. I was going to ask that. And the slightly more philosophical one is about, and I asked a similar question to Sonia on. I'm talking like she's my best pal. She's not, obviously, but I talked to Sonia about that story on Tuesday. And it's a sort of counterintuitive thing because you've worked in the Dutch leagues, the Swedish leagues, and now here, and we consider the WSL to be like best league, the most competitive league. You know, anyone can beat anyone, anyone can draw, Leicester can hold Chelsea, that kind of thing. And the French and Spanish leagues are considered to be not competitive at all. You always know who's going to win, basically. I mean, you just do. And you always know who's going to be champion. So why, counterintuitively, are they better in the Champions League historically than we are if we're more competitive?
That's a good question.
You can both try. You can both try if you want.
What's the recipe? Is that a question to both of us?
Yeah,
Or?
it doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand it.
I think either way it's speculating, but I think if you look at Lyon in France and Barcelona in Spain, for example, they are the teams that have been investing the longest and the most for a long time. So even though maybe the leagues aren't competitive, they still get their competitive moments, and they get competition in training if you look at their squads. So that would be my speculation around the theme you bring up. But yeah, it's hard to know. But I agree with you that the WSL is very competitive, which is very good for English football.
What do you think, Katie?
I agree with Renee. Don't go against the gaffer.
Thank you, Amy. Sandra.
Hi Katie, hi Renee. Question for both of you. This season in Europe, we've seen Arsenal seem to have a thing about coming back, whether it's in the group stage and responding to that loss against Bayern Munich, and then beating them in the rain-soaked Meadow Park, but then also with what you did against Real Madrid. How important psychologically is it for you, Renee, as a coach, but then also for the players to know that you can do that, you can overturn it, particularly when you're going up against some of the toughest teams?
Well, of course, you want to set up yourself so you don't have to overcome setbacks. That's the starting point. But we also know that in sports it will happen, because the further you go, the better teams you play against, this will happen. You're going to play against good teams, good players. So what happens with us when we are in that situation and we have to come back within those 90 minutes or in a second leg? And I think the team so far has shown so much strength in those moments. And I think that's key for us to be a winning team, that whatever happens, we stick to it, we keep on going, we have a mindset on winning, we persist, and we keep on believing in what we're doing, and we're aligned on that. And I think that's what the team has been showing. They've invested so much, the players, into these processes. And I think that's why we've been able to turn things around before. And that, of course, gives us belief for the future as well.
Yeah, no, obviously just to echo what Renee said, I think you're seeing the benefits of it now, the Real Madrid, the Bayern Munich. But this is something we've been conscious of probably a long time, because I think to be champions and really progress in Europe and win competitions, you have to have that aspect in your game, not just individually but as a team. And I think when we've went down a goal or two or had to turn a leg around, or different playing conditions if you're away somewhere, you need to see that, respect it, and then focus on what we can do and what we can control. And obviously the most recent one was the Real Madrid game, and I think conditions were what it was away from home, but we kept in our control of bringing them back to the Emirates and playing our football and playing the Arsenal way. And it obviously helps then when it comes off, but it's something that we've been working on and conscious of over the last year or two, for sure.
And obviously you were so close, you mentioned Wolfsburg and being so close to it that time. How much of the disappointment from that is fueling you in terms of this point now?
Well, I remember leading the girls out against Wolfsburg, and we were lined up, and I'm looking at our bench and the row of players that were out with long-term injuries. It was incredible. There was Kim, there was Caitlin, there was Viv, Beth, Leah Williamson. It was crazy. So we had a depleted squad. We were, people were kind of down and out on us, really. So to be in this position now and having grown through those difficult moments, not getting through, obviously Wolfsburg beating us in the end, you have to find the positives in those moments and the learnings from that. And I think We've grown so much over those 2 years and really developed our game, especially how we play going forward. And that's down to Renee and the coaching staff as well for working us so hard out on the training pitch. So yeah, it's exciting. For us as a team, we're excited going into this, and hopefully we can showcase what we can do.
Thanks, Sandra. Jamie.
Hi both, thanks for your time. Katie, I just want to ask you, coming back, you just mentioned that Wolfsburg game. It felt like the end of that season was kind of the Katie McCabe miracle season, where you guys a very injury-ridden Arsenal team through a lot, especially against Man City in that game. But for you personally, back in the Champions League semi-final now, obviously captaining Ireland, what have you learnt about yourself over these last couple of seasons? Because I feel like we speak a lot about you on the pitch, but what about off the pitch? I'm just intrigued to know.
I don't know. I just try to continue to be myself, turn up to training, work, and leave it all out there. I'm not anything else in between. If I am, Renee, pipe in and say. But honestly, for me, how I prepare for games, whether it be with Arsenal, Ireland, I need to train how I play. I need to give 100% and demand from myself and demand from my teammates and younger players as well. So that's how I've always been, and I don't think at 29 now I'm going to change anytime soon as well. But yeah, I definitely over the last 2 years as well, I've wanted to develop more tactically as well, and having initially Renee as assistant, Aaron as well, spending time to help kind of figure things out or look at things a little bit differently. So yeah, it's been great. I think there's always, you can always learn, especially in football. There's always different pictures at different times. So yeah, just enjoying it really.
Nice. And Renee, having a player like Katie, obviously coming from the interim role into the managerial role, a player that's been with Arsenal for a long time, a versatile president. How nice has that been, and how have you kind of learnt from a player and as a manager? Can you learn from your team?
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's a couple of players in the team, like Katie is a part of, that have been here for so long. So they understand the club so well, and they know where the club comes from and where we want to go so clearly. And so it's so good to work with them. And I think with Katie, when you say working with Aaron and me and developing the tactical game, I think Katie's tactical understanding is on a very, very high level. And that's, in answer to your question, I think that's where we learn from the player as well. Because Katie sees, and that's the hard part as a coach, so you see the game from the sideline or from video footage, and you say this and this and there and that. But then the player on the pitch has a totally different view on, like literally a different view, a different perception of the game. And I think sometimes we see things from up above and we think this should be possible, this should be the solution, and then they go and say, like, on the pitch it actually looks like this, we think this player can do this job better. And they see the distances in a different way, for example. So we learn a lot from the players, and Katie is definitely one of them. So when you say developing tactically, it's both ways.
We're being really nice to each other.
Yeah, we go and fight. But
And just building off that, I'm interested because I remember after the Real Madrid home leg, you said that there was a moment, I think every fan's heart dropped when Caitlin Ford runs it straight to goal rather than the corner flag because you're trying to preserve a lead. But you said the players felt like there was more in them, and those conversations with the players, are they regular? Do you kind of consult the playing group? Is it more of a relationship when you're on even battlefield?
Well, I always tell myself in the morning or ahead of the weeks, there's so many things that need to be done in the morning before the players come in. Players come in 9:15 and our first team meeting starts 10:15. We are done with our meeting 9:30, and then I have a window of 45 minutes before the team meeting starts to spend with players, and that's my protected time with players. So I'd rather go up early in the morning, 6 o'clock, to do my work, or stay a little bit longer in the afternoon. So when the players are available, we want to connect with them, and that's something we want to commit to as a coaching staff. But we have to remind ourselves of it, because otherwise you get dragged into other work. So, but that's key for us, that we stay connected between staff and players, because we want to develop together.
Brilliant. Thanks guys, best of luck.
Thank you.
Freddie.
Hi both. Lotte signed a new contract earlier this week. I'd like to ask you both, but Katie, she was the creative director for her own video.
Only Lotte.
Only Lotte. Typical Lotte. And what did you make of her pick pen to paper? You must be really pleased.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first signed for the club, Lotte was in the squad as coming up from the academy. Her and Anna Patton at the time. And And yeah, I mean, Lotte epitomises what Arsenal Football Club is in so many ways. And I think in the announcement video, how creative she was, including people from the community, involving herself in North London. It was incredible. And Renee, obviously, you mentioned it to the whole team before the team meeting that she was signing a new deal, and everyone was ecstatic over it. She's a fantastic player and brings so much to this team on and off the pitch. So we're very lucky to have her for the next few years.
What's she been like, Renee, while she's been out injured? I guess she's been still a really important presence around the squad.
Yeah, very important. Lotte is so important for the group. I think if I compare myself when I was in Lotte's age, I didn't understand the full picture as well as she does. I think she has the capacity to go away from herself and see the club, the team, what's needed for the greater good. So I think she's on such a high level. When she was out injured, someone made a comment to Lotte, "You're smiling, looks like you like to be on the game ready and in the gym." And she was like, "No, that's not why I'm smiling. I hate to not be on the pitch, but I'm smiling because I want to bring the energy to the team." So that's Lotte.
And Arsenal's under-21s won their league this week. I wonder how closely you've kept an eye on their season. You must be really pleased for everyone involved.
Yeah, it's so important for the club to be rewarded with winning the league, because I think so many people in the background are working so hard to work with the academy players and our young talents. And I think Elliot and all the other people, the staff in the background, have done an amazing job. And you can see how many players we get through to the first team, how many players we have on loans at the moment. So yeah, fantastic job. So very happy with that.
And Katie, I think it's the highest number of travelling fans in terms of coming over from here to Lyon that Arsenal have had for a European game. How much does that mean, and how much does their support mean all season? Because even thinking back to the qualifier at Hecken, there were hundreds of them there.
So loud, yeah. No, I think our fans are biased, but I think they're the best in the league, the best in Europe. I think wherever we go, whether it's in Europe or up north of England, wherever we're going, they're always there in numbers and cheering us on, singing the chants. They always make the new players feel so welcome by making up new chants for them, and that connection we have with them is something you can't buy. And for us, especially on Sunday, they're going to be so important for us to urge us on and encourage us, and give us the energy as they always do.
I'm sure probably quite a few of them, their first Arsenal women game was that Wolfsburg semi-final with the sellout, so it must be nice to know probably quite a few of them who saw that heartbreak will be on the plane on Sunday. Yeah,
I hope so. I think, hopefully it's not the same result as their first game, but we always go out on that pitch and wear the shirt with pride, and we want to do the fans proud, so we know they'll be out in numbers cheering us on.
Thanks, Freddie. Lastly, Aisha at the back.
Hi, Renee and Katie. Renee, it seems a long time ago in September where you guys were almost out of the Champions League after that loss to Hacken, and now you've gone on this incredible journey. And I was just wondering, I guess, from your perspective, how that development and what it is you think the most positive changes have been in that journey?
I think we touched upon it before. It's how we persist and accept and get back from setbacks. I think how we are composed in those moments, because they will happen, especially, like I said, against the top teams. The further you get, the harder it gets. So they will happen. So in game, but also between games, us coming back and staying persistent and composed in everything we do and keep on believing in the process. I think that's been the biggest strength of the team, definitely.
And Katie, it looked like really great vibes out there in training today. The music was blaring, I think ready for the weekend came on. From your guys' perspective, how important is that sort of fun and relaxed almost atmosphere ahead of such an important game?
Yeah, I think we had a day off yesterday, and the coaches introduced the music for the rondos, and it's just more to get that, as you said, good energy flowing, good vibes. But once the music goes off, we are straight to work. We are working obviously in the rondos, but it's full focus on what we're doing. it's it's nice to have good camaraderie around the team, which is always a positive thing, and it unifies us, and that's what we have to be. We have to be unified going into Sunday as a whole club, and obviously fans including that as well.
And you mentioned in your answer to Sandra, to be champions we need to. Do you have that belief that you guys can go on and be champions in this competition?
I believe on Sunday we can go in and be positive and score goals. We have the quality, we have the class around the team, but we have to be on it. We have to be on it from the get-go. We've spoken about obviously Lyon and their strengths, but we know what we can do, and we have the belief we can go and turn it around on Sunday.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Awesome. We'll leave it there, guys. Thank you.